Welcome to Module 8, Manage Your Garden Year-Round. Congratulations on creating a maintenance plan for your garden. As your next step, this video will help you understand the importance of managing your garden through multiple seasons, what typical issues need addressed each season, and how to create a full calendar of events. Successful school gardens manage their garden for different seasons. This is how your team can make sure that its goals are realized all year long.
Our school system is, August through May, and we grow food from May to September.
The kids are at school for the planting season, and then they are gone for a lot of the maintenance and some of the harvest, and then they come back and they're there for the fall harvest.
You need to plan for all phases of the growing cycle, spring, summer, fall, and winter, by being prepared for what each season brings.
Having a garden is a year-round process. I mean, from growing to putting it to bed for the winter, to waking it back up in the spring, we're constantly doing things in the garden.
A multi-season plan is key to the longevity of your school garden. A dedicated community of people needs a calendar that takes spring, summer, fall, and winter into consideration. Knowing that you need to plan year-round, what issues need addressed, and in what season. Through our interviews with school garden coordinators, volunteers, and organizations that support school gardens, we identified that all school gardens are unique, but there are key issues during each of the 4 seasons that you should consider scheduling for.
In the spring, start selecting what you'd like to be planted, something that the majority of the families are interested in.
We decide, okay, what do we need to start planting in the inside to start to grow into a plant, so then we can then put it outside once it's ready.
You have to make sure that you've got the right types of crops that you want, prepare the soil, you have to plant them, make sure that the soil temperature is correct.
And then in the spring, we till it up and we get ready to plant it on our planting day.
Spring cleanups and planting days are really great ways to engage a large group of people.
We have a big school-wide planting and activities kind of around Earth Day.
We also then planned our planting day early in the spring. So we had our planting day middle of May, which is after the frost and it's not too hot.
During the course of some of those spring meetings, we discuss what it is we'd like to grow in the summer.
As the spring was ending, we were planning for the summertime. Who is going to be watering the garden if there's no students? Who is going to be making sure that all of the weekly meetups are taken care of?
What's going to happen in the middle of the summer, when it's August and it's warm out and someone needs to be coming and watering and weeding. Having that plan in place is going to make sure that the garden's successful.
You got to have somebody to water the gardens in the summer while the students are gone, and to weed everything, and just getting everything lined up and put together was probably one of the biggest challenges.
I have a program during the summer where I find 6 families that will each take a day of the week to look at the garden and be responsible for that one day.
Each person took a day and they just said, okay, I will do the watering every Tuesday. I will do the watering every Wednesday, or I will do the watering every Thursday.
Something that helps, again, is if there is a summer program happening, then I've seen a couple of teachers who were able to petition the school and ask that the piece of the summer program they are a part of, that it has gardening as part of that curriculum.
Figuring out a way to include summer school programs or clubs or something into the garden during the summer is definitely a critical component.
Things like Boys and Girls Clubs, or the different clubs or organizations that offer education throughout the summer.
We have a 21st Century grant that's funded, I believe, from the state for the schools, that allows kids to come to summer school, which the garden club is incorporated in their curriculum.
Another thing to consider is to create those partnerships within the community and those businesses that are close by.
We have had volunteers before who came on a work day as an entire maybe department from a corporation.
Hubble does have a corporate partnership with Principal Financial, And at two of the past 6 years, I've had to tap that resource, and it has been wonderful.
I think always just be on the lookout for those businesses that give their employees that volunteer time, and just kind of approach them and say, hey, we have a garden that could use some help.
And in the fall, there's always leaves to pick up, and there's still quite a bit of stuff growing out there now, and there's a lot of flowers growing out there.
And then in the fall, they switched to cold weather crops.
We'll be able now to put in a second crop of carrots and spinach and lettuce and all that peas that grow in the spring when it's cool and in the fall when it's cool.
And then as the fall comes, when everything is finished, you need to put the garden to bed, which means to take off the things that aren't ground cover, prepare a ground cover for the off-coming season. If you need to add any type of nutrients to the soil, you can do it then.
In the fall, after we clean and glean the seeds from the old plants, we lay down compost so that seeps in throughout the winter.
In the fall, when you harvest, then you're back in that October, November time again. And then you're talking about, well, what worked, what didn't, what do we want to do different next year?
Putting the soil to rest at the end of the season, planting cover crops so that you don't lose soil to erosion over the off season.
Everything goes inside. Food Corps is here bringing Pick a Better Snack once a month to classrooms.
We're not going to be out in the garden in December, January, February, and even parts of March. So what can we do to bring in the ideas of the garden into the classroom?
You're inside the classroom and you're planning and you're talking to your students and you're deciding, what do you want to plant, maybe even in the classroom before, if you have a grow card.
Fall, winter, and spring, a lot of that time we're in the school and we're using the garden cart for whatever lesson plans that they're doing.
We started deciding what do we need to do for the prep work. What are we going to need to pull out of our garden once there's not snow on it? Where are we going to be putting our compost items? Where are we going to be getting more soil for our beds that washed away when the snow melted? We did a lot of the planning on who's going to be taking what responsibility.
This is the system that's going to get the garden going and keep the garden going. These are the people that are going to be involved. This is what we need in terms of equipment and work ahead of when the kids get out in the garden.
In the spring, prepare the garden and schedule planting days. In the summer, schedule volunteers from local partnerships to maintain and harvest. In the fall, prepare autumn crops and schedule cleanup days. In the winter, close down the garden, bring the lessons indoors, and plan for the following spring. Now that you know what to plan for, how do you put the calendar together? A Garden for Every School has tools to help you identify what activities to schedule year-round in each season of your school garden. This video has its own planning guide and helps plan your calendar year-round. Download planning guide number 8 for this video, fill out each section as a team, and create a seasonal calendar of activities for your school garden.